Let's learn about sharks and rays. Using Scratch. First, let's gather our pictures from Pixabay. Then we'll build our code in Scratch. Finally, we'll educate people to help save these beautiful sharks and rays. So the first thing that we need to do is to create a new folder on our desktops named Sharks and Rays. So here I am on my desktop, and I am going to right-click, go down to New, select Folder, and type in Sharks and Rays. Step 2. Let's go to Google, and in this search bar, let's type Pixabay, Pixabay. Pixabay is a great resource for grabbing copyright-free photos. We'll use these in our photo montage of sharks and rays. So, I see right here Pixabay, 1.8 million stunning free images to use anywhere. Let's go ahead and click on it. Now, all of these are not copyright free, and I'm going to show you how to determine which ones we can use and which ones we can't. So in the search bar, go ahead and type shark, and then hit this little guy right here. The first row of images that we see are not copyright free. These are sponsored images, and that means that we have to pay for them. So we don't want to select any of those. The first image that we want to select is a sawfish, which is a ray, and it's really super cool. It has a huge snout that has little spikes on it, like a hedge trimmer. So it has little teeth on it all coming out right here. You can see them a little bit right here. So I click on this, and now I go over here to my free download and click on free download, and then click on download again. Our sawfish photo is now in our downloads folder. So we don't want it to just sit there. We want it to actually live in our sharks and rays folder that we created just for this Scratch project. So I am going to go ahead and click on the little box next to my picture of my sawfish, and I am going to use my Home tab, and I'm going to hit Copy, and then I'm going to go to my desktop and find that new folder that we just created. So there it is, Sharks and Rays. I'm going to go home again and click Paste. Now, instead of this being named a random name from Pixabay, I am going to call this Sawfish. And all I did to rename it was just click on it. So if I click on it lightly, I can rename it. Okay, step 4. Let's select and download more sharks and rays pictures. So I am here, I've just downloaded my sawfish, and I am just going to go up here to my back arrow, and it takes me back into my search results for sharks. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of more pictures that I want to put into our awesome slideshow. So let's grab this great white shark picture. And let's go over here and click free download and then download. And now I can see at the bottom of my screen it's gone into my download folder, and I'll move that in a minute. So I go back to my back arrow, and it gives me my results again. And let's see, let's pick some different types of photos. I like this great white photo. I click free download, download. Sometimes it will open the picture that you've downloaded, and that's fine. I just go back to my browser and go hit my back arrow. There are some great pictures that we can choose. I like this hammerhead picture. I click free download, download again. Use my back arrow. Oh, I like this picture. Free download, download again. Ooh, he's scary when you see his teeth. Go back to my browser, hit back. Okay, I'm going to go up here because I want to get some pictures of rays now. So in Pixabay, I want to go ahead and type manta rays to try and grab some pictures of manta rays. Oh, there's a good one. Beautiful. Free download, download. Go back into my browser, hit the back arrow. I like this picture because we can see under him. Download. I have some nice pictures of rays. Now, I think I want to grab a big picture of a basking shark. So I'm going to write basking shark and then hit my magnifying glass. Oh, and this is a terrific picture. So I'm going to go ahead and hit free download, download. Okay, step 5, go ahead and save all of the pictures that we just downloaded into your Sharks and Rays folder. Step 6, open Scratch. Go ahead and log in. so you can save and share your projects. Now, we are ready to go ahead and to create our awesome new slideshow that is going to feature sharks and rays with a little bit of text on top of each picture, so we can give our audience a little bit more understanding of what these creatures are all about. So go ahead and hit create, and Scratch will begin to set up your program. Step 6. So I am at my desktop and I see my Sharks and Rays folder. I double click on it and I open up to see all of my amazing pictures of these fantastic, amazing sharks and rays. So I have a basking shark. I have a great white shark with a blue background. I have pictures of a great white with a transparent background or a clear background, and it looks to be about 5 different pictures of the same great white. I have a gray shark with his teeth showing. I have 3 hammerheads with a transparent background or clear background. I have manta rays. I have my sawfish picture, and I have an underneath ray picture. Okay, so I've labeled all of them so I clearly understand what each picture is about, and I'm not going to get them confused with any other picture. Now I go back into my Scratch program that's already opened. And the first thing that I want to do is get rid of my Scratch cat. Bye-bye. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and upload all of my shark and ray pictures. So I go into my upload window. It's sort of down here on the right-hand side, and I choose this option, Upload Sprite. I go to my desktop, and I go down to my Sharks and Rays folder. I double-click it. And I wonder if I select my first picture and hold Shift key down and then select my last picture. Oh, look, they can all be selected at one time and all be imported into my Scratch picture at one time. So all I did, I'll do that again, is I selected my very first shark picture. Then on my keyboard, I'm holding my Shift key down and I'm selecting my last picture. So my first and my last picture with my Shift key down on my keyboard, and it selects all 8 pictures at one time. And I hit open. And now my Scratch program tells me that these are importing. So there's basking, there's great white with blue, great white transparent, gray shark with teeth, 3 hammerheads, manta rays, sawfish, underneath ray. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. Okay, let's go to and they are all on top of each other, and that's no big deal. We're going to go ahead and fix that with code. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to rename these in my Scratch program, because as I go through the slideshow, I'm going to call all of these individually. And when I call them, I want to call them by a letter. So I don't have to write basking shark and great white shark with blue background and great white shark with clear background, that type of thing. So I'm going to rename all of them. And to do that, I'm just going to be in my sprite window right here. And the first one I have here is my basking shark. So instead of it having the long name of basking shark, I want to just name it B. And you'll see why we do that in just a minute. That is going to be our code, part of our code for calling that picture. Great white shark. Let's go to him next. So great white shark with the blue background, I want to name him W. The great white shark with the transparent background or the clear background, I want to name him G for great. The gray shark with the teeth, with the scary teeth, I want to name him T for teeth. The hammerheads, you know what I'm going to name hammerheads. H. Manta rays, you know what I'm going to name them. M. Sawfish. S. Underneath ray, which is this guy right here. U. So basking bee, great white with blue background, W for white. Great whites with the transparent background, G for great. T for the gray shark with the teeth. H for the hammerheads, M for the manta rays, S for the sawfish, and U for the underneath part of this ray picture. Okay, so they are all layered on top of each other, and that's fine because we are going to right now start putting some code in. So we're just going to call each picture one at a time with that specific letter. You'll see what I mean. Don't worry, just follow me. So the first shark that we are going to do is this basking shark. And that's what he looks like when we look at his costume. If we go into code, we don't really see anything because his picture is sort of layered underneath all of these and hidden. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to say, okay, when the green flag is clicked and we start our game, we want him to hide because we don't want to see him until we press the letter B. So when green flag clicked, hide him. And then we're going to go through all of these. When W is clicked, hide him. When G is clicked, hide him. When T is clicked, hide him. When H is clicked, hide him. When M is clicked, hide him. When S is clicked, hide him. When U is clicked, hide him. When B is clicked, show him. So let's go ahead and put that first. So I go to events. When space key is pressed. So instead of space, put B. When B key is pressed, then let's go into our looks. And down here is our show. And let's check it out. So he is hidden. We can't really see it, but it did hide from beneath this. When this is clicked, he hides. And then let's go ahead and hit B. See that he's behind here. When B is clicked, he shows up. Now, let's go ahead and make that a little bit clearer. So go back to events. And let's go through all of these. So the next one in line is W. So let's hide W. When W is pressed, go into looks, grab that hide. Hide him. Go back to events. What's next? G. When G is pressed, go into looks, hide him. When T is pressed, hide him. When H is pressed, hide him. What's our next one? M. Okay, when M is pressed, hide him. Two more. When S is pressed, hide him, and then I'm going to show you a shortcut here. If I right-click here, I can say duplicate, and it gives me a duplicate of the block. So the last one is you, which is our great big manta picture right here, our underneath manta. So hide him then. Okay, so now let's go ahead. We have hidden everything except our basking shark, but we only show him when we press B. So let's go ahead and hit green flag. Now let's press B. Now wait a second, I see him popping up back here, but I don't see anything else happening. Well, because none of these other pictures have any code on them. So they don't know how to behave themselves. So they're just hanging out. Basking shark is the only one who knows how to behave because he has code behind him right now. So we have to put in code to a couple more of these before we see any real change, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and go to, so basking shark has when green flag is clicked, hide, when B is pressed, show, and then the rest of the pictures go ahead and hide until their letter is shown. So let's do the same thing for our great white shark. So when green flag is clicked, hide. Now we want our great white with a blue background to show when our W is clicked. So we go to when W, then show. Now the rest of the time we want to hide. So B, G, T, H, M, S, U. We have to hide all of those. Now there is a shortcut for doing this. There is a code way for doing this. I teach this letter by letter. So let's go ahead and pick B because I want my students to really understand what they're doing. And so the first time they go through this, if they have to hide every single letter, I've found it helps them understand this lesson a little bit better. And it's just fun to be on here and to click around. Okay, so when G is pressed, hide. And let's see, when T is pressed, T for teeth, hide. And when H is pressed, then we're going to go ahead and hide. And when M is pressed, we're going to go ahead and hide. And then let's go ahead and do our right-click duplicate, our little shortcut. And when S is pressed, we hide. So right-click, duplicate. When U is pressed, we're going to go ahead and hide. Okay, so let's make sure we have everybody. So when it's a W, we show B, G, T, H, M, S, U. Okay, awesome. Let's see if anything happens. See if we can see anything happening. Now I'm pressing some of the keys. Nothing really is happening because we have so many layers. Okay, let's go to G. Now G is the great white sharks with the transparent background. So the first thing we want to do is when green flag is clicked, we want to hide. And then we want to do events. When we'll do this one for the show, when G is pressed, we show. That's the only one. Now let's go to, we'll duplicate the next one. When B, let's start with B. When B is pressed, we hide. Now let's do right-click, duplicate. When W, whoops, nope, not B. When W is pressed, we hide, duplicate. When T is pressed, we hide. When H is pressed, we hide. Right-click, duplicate. I'm going to put this up here. When M is pressed, we hide. Duplicate. Whoops, it just gave me the hide. Now, if I have a mistake, I just pull it off. Okay, so when S is pressed, we hide, and then duplicate this. When U is pressed, we hide. Okay, awesome. Okay, now once all of the code is in our pictures, I want to then go back to my very first picture, which is my basking shark. And I want to make sure that my sprite the name is B, just because I don't want to confuse it with anything. And then I want to go to my text. And for each picture, I have written something different about each animal. So I just put right on my animal that text. So for instance, on my basking shark, I have, "Don't worry, this big mouth only eats tiny plankton, fish eggs, and krill." And then, more importantly, I have down here, "Press green flag for directory." And that will mean that our audience can go back to the green flag and click it, and they'll be given a little preview of what letters they need to click to go to each animal. Okay? So I have all of this text written down in my matching online lesson tutorial for this at easycodesforkids.com. So you can see that in the description. Or if you want to write your own about each animal, you can do that as well. So teachers, here is a great chance for your kids to get onto Google and to do some research about all of these different animals and then come up with their own text to put on top of the picture. Okay, so I opened up a fresh scratch program to show you how I made the beginning piece of our slideshow, just so it's a little less confusing. So when we have all of our different pictures here, we can go through them because we have code on each of them telling them to hide until a certain letter is pressed. Well, people who are going to come to this program are not going to know automatically what letter they need to press to see a basking shark or to see manta rays or to see a sawfish unless we give them a nice little directory. And I think the easiest way to go from, let's say, basking shark, if I'm in a basking shark and I can't remember all the other different sharks and ray pictures that are available, I think, you know what? I'll just go back to my green flag for the directory. So all of them in the bottom corner have press green flag for directory. So they know after they're done looking at this picture, I can press green flag for the directory and find what is the next letter I need to press to go to the next animal. Okay, so this is going to be the very start of our slideshow, and it's going to say, welcome to our slideshow. It has a nice little cartoon shark, and then it gives sort of an explanation. Press the following keys. Whoops, I messed that up. Press the following keys to see and read about sharks and rays. Okay, super simple. And then they will know that when they go back to the start, they don't have to memorize, oh, I want to see great white, so I have to press G. Okay, so what I'd like to show you is how I'm going to make this welcome to our slideshow. And it's going to be it's going to be very similar to the code that we use for the other animals, a lot of hide and show. So the first thing that I want to do is go down here and choose a sprite. And I'm going to type shark into my search. And there's my little shark. Now he has some animation. He has some different costumes. So he animates to this guy. So he goes from a great white to a hammerhead. But we are not necessarily concerned about that. I like to use him just as a great white. And I'm going to add the text here. And then I'll add the code. And that will be our beginning piece of our slideshow. So you are going to do this right in your program. I'm just doing this on a separate piece so it doesn't look confusing. Okay? All right, so I want to make sure that this guy is grouped. And now I can move him up here. So I just used my arrow. I drew a box around him and then I hit group just so I can move him around correctly and I don't move him in pieces. Now I'm going to choose my text and I'm going to say, welcome to our slideshow about sharks and rays. Now I can see in this corner over here that that is a little bit out of alignment. So I move it a little bit. Okay. Now, here comes the important part. The directory. So I'm going to go in alphabetical order. So I'm going to say B for basking shark. The second one is G space great white shark with clear background. Let's see if it shows up here. I'm going to scroll out a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Okay. Let's see, the third one is H, hammerhead. The fourth one is M, manta ray. The fifth one is S for sawfish. Line that up a little better. The sixth one is T, gray shark with teeth. 7 is U, sting ray with underneath Finally, we have W for great white shark with blue background. Okay, so the final thing that we have to do is just add our code. So we need to have our code that tells our slideshow when to show and when to hide. Okay, super simple, and it's a lot like the rest of our slideshow. So we go into code and we do events. When green flag is clicked, we're going to show our beginning slide. Let's go to events. When B is clicked or pressed, we are going to hide. Okay, and let's right click, duplicate. When G is pressed, we're going to hide. Okay, duplicate. When H is pressed, we're going to hide. Duplicate. When M is pressed, we're going to hide. When S is pressed, we're going to hide. When T is pressed, we're going to hide. When U is pressed, we're going to hide. And finally, when W is pressed, we're going to hide. So only on green flag are we going to see our beginner.